Welcome back, everyone, to Profluent Sports. Excited today as we roll through some more emerging leagues and getting to the team side of an emerging league today with LIV Golf and the general manager, Jonas, of Cleeks Golf Club. Jonas, appreciate you coming on today and excited for this conversation. I think it'll be a unique one that we haven't had too many people around. And so,
Thanks for having me, Andrew. Excited to speak to you and let everyone know a bit more about LIV Golf and Cliques.
Amazing. So I want to start here. I think it's the overarching theme of the conversation, and I've been having a lot more conversations about this lately, which is awesome, of folks from the tech world, and especially I've just had a bunch of cricket conversations and podcasts lately, and there's a ton of people from the technology space going and buying cricket teams or getting involved on that side, especially in the US. And you're somewhat similar, but went to a different sport previously. CEO of Mojang Studios, which I think you guys created or owned Minecraft or something like that. So I don't know if you want to touch on that real brief, but then really, what got you interested, or how did this opportunity come about, and what was the shift to sports? Just because we're seeing so much of it now, and it's awesome from someone like myself.
Yeah, no, I think it came really unexpected for myself, to be honest. I've never worked in sports. I've worked in many different industries, like airlines to fashion and lately gaming. So yeah, my latest job was I ran Minecraft for 8 years, I think, and in the last 2 years I was more of an advisor to the company. I moved from Sweden to Spain and was not really thinking of having a very operational role anymore. I was more kind of wanting to have the retired life, not really, but still be engaged with companies, but not full on as this now became. So I got a call from a friend of mine, Jonas, who has been in the golf industry for 25 years. He's managed some of the bigger names in golf, and he was the one who brought Martin Kaymer to LIV Golf. And Martin Kaymer, for anyone listening who doesn't know who it is, he is the former world number one, and he's won a couple of majors and also being part of the Ryder Cup team. And he's a German player. He joined LIV, what is it now, 2 or even 3 years ago. So Johan was managing him, and he brought him to LIV Golf. And one of the tasks my friend and colleague got was to recruit a general manager for the team that Martin was going to manage or be the captain for, and that is Cleeks Golf Club. So he called me and said, what do you think about this? And me being a golfer, I've played golf since I was 12, I think. Love the sport. I've always kind of followed it, watched it on TV. Never had the ambition of becoming a professional, but I'm a decent golfer. And when he asked me, I was like, okay, this is an opportunity that will never come again. So I jumped on it, and it's definitely been a ride. So I flew down to Spain at that time and met with Greg Norman and had a longer lunch with him. And at the end of the lunch, he stood up and said, "Welcome to the team." So that's how it happened.
Super cool. And I'm curious on this front, maybe for people that don't know, just outline the LIV Golf infrastructure of, you have the league level, then you have these franchises and the athletes obviously underneath, and I believe some of them own equity. If you can sort of just go through the structure real quick, I think it will help give people some context to some of this as well.
Yeah, sure. I can start with the format itself. It's a lot of people compare it to Formula One. So you have an individual competition and a team competition. There's 13 teams on the league and 4 players in each team. And we then complete 14 tournaments around the world. So we play in North America, Europe, and Asia. And the season is between February and August. So we have 4 events left of the season, UK next week, and then we have 3 left in America. So that's kind of how the competition works. And in terms of the structure, the league level, and then you have 13 teams who are operated more or less like 13 individual companies. And most of them are partly owned by the captain and partly owned by the PIF.
And from a general manager perspective, I'm assuming, like you said, 13 different ones, so you're one of 13. What's the responsibility role? What does that look like? Not just on a day-to-day basis, but overarching, what are the main goals of that for your role?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we want to create value for our owners and shareholders. So that's kind of the task. So it's similar to any, I guess, CEO job. But the accountability is basically everything. So anything from revenues, which is mainly sponsorships and merchandise at the moment, but also player constellation and branding, logistics, everything that comes around the team. I'm accountable for it, but obviously I'm not doing all of it. So I have a small team, and we try to do that.
You said something, and I think maybe one of John or Fielger, one of your PR team mentioned this, but something about you want to create I don't know if it was like the Yankees or something for like that same brand appeal for your team, for Cliques, and I'll just sort of let you go deeper. I think that's what they said. I think I'm on spot with
Yeah,
that.
I think that's just a reference because everyone knows about them. But I found the task when I started a year ago very interesting, because when I looked at it, it's like, okay, you have 4 players. You obviously have a very famous and strong captain and 3 other great players. Then you also have a brand, which is the team. And so if I look at 10, 20 years ahead, the one thing that's going to be there, which I know is going to be there, is the brand. So from the get-go, I focused quite a lot on making sure that we have the brand position and see what opportunities are out there. So we ended up in a rebrand of the Cliques, and we also ended up in a kind of a new brand positioning. At the time, I saw like there was an opportunity to create like a bridge between the old golf and new golf, and we wanted to be that bridge. So that's why we ended up with a brand positioning of tradition refreshed, which basically means that we honor the tradition of golf, but we also want to be part of this new era, which to me, LIV Golf is spearheading at the moment. And the reason why we want to do it is to invite more people to play and enjoy the game. And that's what we're trying to do. So, and how we're doing it is mainly through tapping into a new type of audiences. So we launched a few collaborations this year with a fashion brand, with the artists, and we're launching now in August a quite exciting project where we will have the golf bag as the canvas, and we're inviting the biggest art community in the world to create their art on this golf bag, which is quite exciting. So that's I think that kind of taps into my older or my past, where I worked a lot with creators, and this is one way of getting that part into.
Yeah, I want to go back one step. What's it take to create a big brand, right? Like you've done that through a few things, like more outside of what you're doing now, like pulling back to call it more like first principles or whatever. What have you noticed doing it yourself, studying other brands? What really have you seen, or what's your your position on it?
Yeah, there's many aspects to this. One part is luck, but I think you have to be authentic. You have to know who you are and who you want to be, and be consistent, be patient. Building a brand takes a long time, and hopefully you'll get some influential people along who helps you. But to me, it's mainly about consistency and patience, and staying true to what you believe in.
From a design perspective, anything fall into that? Like, is there certain little things, or like how are you studying, I guess, the customer then too? Right? Like what's a little bit more the like take the luck out of it, take the consistency, take the, that side of the brand out of it, more the analytical or more the, technical side, like any little nuances in that, because I think you do, at least again, like I don't have any data or studies or anything to back this, but you start to see a few things of like why, like I at least now like I'm able to pick up on like, oh, I know why On Running blew up. Like
Yeah,
they're much more sleek. It's a cool new
yeah,
design. They got the athletes wearing it. You got Federer. It seems like upper, lifestyle. Like you start to like be able to see like why Lululemon or
yeah.
whatever it is, right? But from a technical side, there's has to be little things that go into that.
Yeah, difficult question, but obviously you have to have a visual identity that people can relate to, and think that's a cool brand. And I think we have achieved that with the Cliques. We worked with an agency called AQQA to create our new visual identity, and I think they really nailed it. But to me, that's one part, is to create this how we look, but long term I think it's more about what you add to the brand and what type of brand initiatives you do that people can relate to them. Obviously, it helps by looking great. And I think if you ask me, and I think we're the best looking team on LIV Golf, but you might have 13 different opinions there. It helps, but at the end of the day, it's the initiatives and what you actually do with the brand and the collaborators you work with, and in this space, it's also important who our players are and if they can really represent the brand well, which I think they do.
How do you look at some of the other, I don't want to call them like culture focused, but like we've seen a lot of emerging golf brands do a pretty nice job starting to take some market share. Have you looked at any of those for inspiration? Have you seen some things work or not? I mean, I was just with the Malbon team at an event recently. Like, I think that one stands out. They've done a nice job. Like, how do you see then this into golf as well, and taking those concepts of what works for a brand and then seeing, oh, wow, there's some people actually doing okay. Obviously, we saw Tiger with the whole rebrand. You know, how much you study that space or then try to like differentiate also?
Yeah, no, we follow that obviously, and I would say the recent years there's a lot of brands leaning into golf. I mean, you might have seen recently, I think it's Milan and Puma launched collaboration, and you have Taylor the Creator and Malvern, as you mentioned, and I think a lot of brands are really seeing that golf is a lifestyle, and you can really have that as a platform and to create something unique. And that's what we are doing. We want to create, let's call it a premium lifestyle brand. And the only way or at least I think we can do that is to collaborate with other brands or people that we believe can elevate us, and we can tap into new audiences and do exciting brand initiatives like the art initiative we're launching in August, for instance. So, but it's about the long game. You have to look 3 to 5 years ahead and plan for that and have a proper plan for how you want to build your brand.
How do you see it from like a tech side? Obviously, you built like brand community with Minecraft. I think you had another brand before. I feel like it was an apparel company.
Happy Socks.
Yeah. Now, how do you see sports, or like even we'll niche it down more, the golf consumer, like notice differences, anything stand out in particular? Because I'm sure that's step one as you come into things is like, hey, I really got to learn like how these people operate, how they think, what they want, what they like, don't like. Have you seen anything, now a year into this from that standpoint of just golf and sports since you're, newer to it?
Yeah. To me, the trend in golf, it's been interesting to follow. If you look at the fashion of golf, I mean, before this era of Malbon and other brands that are popping up now, it was very performance based with, to me, quite sporty look in a way, not too exciting, not too lifestyle-y. And then before that, I guess you had the big baggy pants and not the best look in my opinion. But what you're seeing now is more a trend. To me, is the trend is more in any industry really, where consuming to build their own identity. So what I mean by that is more if people want to express themselves and who they are and how they want to look on the golf course as well, not just have a sports polo on them. They want to show who they are, and that's what the brands are leaning into, that golf can be a fashion statement, and you can, I guess, build your own identity through how you look and what you wear.
How do you use LIV, or how does that play into this as well? Because obviously, you can bring up any sport team, but like I grew up Pittsburgh Steelers fan, right? And it's like, well, they're also attached to the NFL, right? You guys are a team, but you're also attached to a league. How do you think through that? How's that help you? Does it hurt you? Does it, give you more creativity ability? Does it give you more publicity or eyeballs? Or what does that look like? How are you using it? How are you navigating? I'm always curious, like when there is still one other little factor of you're not just like your happy socks where it's just happy socks, like there is another thing tied to it.
No, I mean, of course, it's an amazing opportunity. You have this massive platform. I mean, we have a reach over, I think, 900 million households through our broadcast. We play in 14 destinations, and every destination we come to, we make a big splash and a lot of marketing. So I would say it's a huge advantage to create a brand when you have that platform to stand on. And there's obviously these 14 destinations. That's where we are mostly known, and that's what we are also looking at. What can we do for these regions? And obviously we want to be a globally known brand, but that's the kind of lowest hanging fruit, in my opinion, to start where we actually are.
You see it in 3 to 5 years. Like if you had to, I know you talked about that plan and some of the, global brand, all this, but like what's a sweet spot where it's like, okay, Minecraft, I'm just going to keep using it for example. It's easy, but it's like, okay, everyone associates that. They at least know it. Even if they've never played, they at least know it in some way. What's sort of the North Star, call it, or whatever, of like, all right, maybe we didn't win, but like we're close, or like we're rolling.
What we achieved with Minecraft truly became a household name. I mean, we were up there. I don't know the stats now, but 90% brand recognition or something like that. It was crazy. So that would be the dream. Obviously, the Cliques would be up there. I think it's hard with what we're doing. We're still limited in what we do in terms of being in the space of golf, but we're truly making an effort to expand beyond that, and we're doing that through tapping into culture in terms of fashion, music, and.
You think name plays into this at all? Like Minecraft seems to be a pretty, it's just a good name.
Yeah.
Cliques seems like a pretty good name, or I always sometimes wonder that, like, would some of these brands be who they are if their name wasn't what it is? It's I guess you'll never know, but how much do you think that plays in? Do you ever think about changing it? Or it's obviously sometimes the things that stop people from starting businesses is they can't come up with a name.
Yeah, I think it has an importance, but not as significant as you might think. I mean, the name will always grow over time, but when more and more people get to know it, I think if someone had heard just the name Minecraft without the success, some people would, okay, that's a weird name, or some would say that's a good name, And I know there's a brand from Sweden, Stockholm, where I'm from. They actually made a point out of it that they would pick a weird name and create a brand out of it called Acne Studios. They became quite famous jeans brand back in the day, and they kind of made a point of choosing a name that wouldn't really be a brand, and they still managed to do it. But I like Cliques. We had obviously the debate when I started. I think very few people knows what it means, which is in a way really good, because then you can create whatever you want. Some nerdy golfers might know that it's a golf club. It's a golf club from back in the day, in the hickory days, with a long driving iron. So that's what it really means. But we're taking the name into this new era, and we will make it to ours, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting because, I think name matters a little, but yeah, I guess you're right. Not really as much as you think, but it's always cool. Like, a brand really wins when it's like, pass me the Kleenex, or, Google this, or right now, a lot of my friends, even though it's like Chat GPT, but it's like, hey, I'm just going to ask Chat, or I'm just going to GP. It's like pretty wild. And it's like, does an Anthropic or a Perplexity, is that name too long? Is it too hard?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting for which one gains the most market share. I guess as we round this more out, what's got you excited across sports? Any other trends, or across golf, or in or out of your ecosystem, got you paying attention to? Are you trying to go deeper and more into sports now that you're in it? What's sort of your overview? Take Cliques, take LIV out of it even.
My personal, or in terms of what Cliques, anything? Yeah. I mean, I've followed golf since I was literally 10, 12 years old, and I'll still follow golf, and I love it. I think right now it's super interesting what's going on, and I love being in the middle of it with what's going on between the PGA and LIV and all the other tours. I can't wait to see what happens in the future, and I think LIV Golf is very well positioned, and I think, or I see already that we're seeing more and more people coming out to the events, but I also think there's always going to be space for other type of experiences. So I think where I'm hoping that golf will expand through all of this, so more people will play golf. And I think our CEO, Scott, makes the reference of people going to the Masters. They will have one type of experience, and other people who go to the Ryder Cup will have a completely different experience. So, and golf is just something different. And we're hoping to see a lot more people out there.
That's awesome. Anything from sports as a whole, do you pay attention, watch, interest in anything else? Are you just big golf? That's what sort of rolled you into this?
Yeah, I'd say I'm more general consumer when the big teams play any sport or players, then I watch it. I don't sit for hours every weekend watching sports, but if it's golf on, I'll watch it. Otherwise, I'm obviously from Sweden, so when the national team in any sport plays, I find that interesting. When the tennis was on the other day, I love to watch it, but unfortunately we don't have any good Swedish players at the moment.
Interesting. Super cool. All right. Well, I guess where can people learn more? What's your guys' website, or where can people see these collabs or learn more
Yeah.
from a Cliques perspective? As you guys,
Yeah.
obviously doing a nice job, at least from the publicity side, and starting to hammer that home. I think that's one of the looming things throughout this combo that isn't touched on, but just inferred of also like you got to get out there and get in front of more people. People aren't aware of you; they don't know you. So obviously that seems to be a big tactic as well that you guys have done a nice job on so far.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I mean, I'm not usually the guy who wants to be on podcasts because I'm not comfortable doing it, but but I'll do it. I'd rather put our players out there, and I mean, we have incredible guys, and they are more used to doing press conferences and media and so forth. But this has been really enjoyable. Thanks, Andrew.
Awesome.